This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
She is on a passionate quest to change the way women and the media think about body image. Letitia Action Jackson on this edition of Conversations. In her 20s, she was one of the world's top-ranked fitness athletes, featured in both national and international health and fitness magazines. But on the inside, she was fighting feelings of deep insecurity while also being a victim of domestic violence. It was the quintessential things aren't always what they seem scenario. Letitia Action Jackson is an Air Force veteran and a fighter who was destined to change her course through helping others break the cycle of domestic violence and poor self-image. These days, she is a speaker, advocate, and author, teaching the merits of a healthy body image. She is the author of 5 books, including I'm Not a Size Zero, Defining Your Curves While Loving Yourself. Her latest book is Goodbye Skinny, Hello Size Healthy. We welcome Letitia Action Jackson to Conversations. Thank you for being here.
Hello, hello, hello.
I love the titles of the book.
Thank you. Which title?
I love them both.
Well, thank you.
I love them both.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell me your story. How did you get to where you are today?
Wow, that is such a loaded question. First of all, thank you for having me here today.
You're most welcome.
As you stated on your entry or in your entry, I am on a mission to really change how the media and how women and young girls see their body and see themselves. As you mentioned, I am still ranked one of the top fitness athletes in the world, made it to Fitness Olympia. I've been in 25 fitness and health magazines. My latest article entitled Fitness Starts Within was presented in Oxygen Fitness magazine in Australia, February of this year. But the thing is, and where my passion truly lies, is that we live in a society that is truly driven by image. And when it comes to women and girls, we're often taught that the success of a woman and the success of your life is based on how you look. We know that in jobs, it's shown by research that more attractive women, unfortunately, are hired. Social media does our young girls a really disservice. They see images, but they never really see what lies behind the images. And that's my message. Although I have a fit body, I have degrees, I was very successful, there was a time in my life where on the inside, I was very broken. I came from a very strong family, Christian beliefs, but around 13 or 14, my parents divorced. And something inside of me as a young child correlated my father's leaving with something being wrong with me. And so I believe what happened unconsciously, I began to show my worth through my actions. I earned 1 degree, earned another degree, traveled the world, and I was placing top in my sport, but something on the inside was broken. And so at the age of 28, I met my ex-husband. Very charismatic, very outgoing, and I was attracted to the attention that he gave me, but the attention that he gave me was negative attention. My definition of love was very distorted as a young child not having a father around, so I found myself in this relationship with a controlling man, and in 2007, in a jealous rage, he tried to kill me. So I saw myself literally in the closet, my life flashed by me as his hands were around my neck. I had to be honest with myself and say, how did you get here? You're smart, you're intelligent, you're beautiful, you're well-spoken, but those were external things. But the reality was I had insecurities, I had rejection issues, I had abandonment issues, I was broken. And so after I left that domestic violence situation, I moved with family, and I want to say for about a year, I really had to get honest with myself. I stripped myself away from my medals, my titles, my education, and I said, there's something inside of you that you and God need to get honest with. And I realized that I really didn't learn to love myself because I was accomplishing and equating my accomplishment with confidence. And it's the strangest thing because it's what we're taught. The more you do, the more successful you are.
How did you make that change internally?
I had to, gosh, that was a long process, to be very honest with you. I had to go in and tear apart who I had created and really look at who I really was. So in essence, the facade, the image of the athlete, the image of the academic person, the image of success, I had to separate because I realized that who I am and what I do are not the same.
Right, right. Who did you discover you were?
I was a scared young girl. I was insecure. I was a grown woman with a young girl inside of her that was hurt, whose father left and she thought it was her fault.
And how did you start mending that?
I had to be honest with my father, first of all. And for a very long time, he and I never spoke. I was angry. And sometimes we mask anger behind success. It's easy to hide, right?
Right.
I had to peel back that anger and literally dissect it and say, this is why I'm angry with you. I'm angry because I didn't understand what it meant to be loved because you left. I'm angry because you and I never had a relationship. And I'm angry because you were supposed to be the first image of what a man was supposed to be. So I had to be very honest with him, but I also had to take my responsibility of my part in my marriage. I saw red flags. And often when I'm interviewed, women say, well, I just didn't see it. I don't believe that. The flags are there. But sometimes we don't know ourselves and we don't like to acknowledge exactly what we see.
What are some of the flags?
Control. My ex-husband was very controlling. If he and I would go out to different events and someone would speak to me, he would make the assumption that the individual was coming on to me, especially if it was a male, always wanting to know where you're at. A lot of times men that are very aggressive in nature and controlling, they're abusive. And sometimes people think that abuse only comes in, well, he hit me or he slapped me. But verbal abuse and emotional abuse is just as bad as physical abuse. And my ex-husband did not become physically abusive and towards the latter end of the marriage. So he was controlling from the beginning. The excessive calls, where are you? Who are you speaking with? Why didn't you answer your phone? And for young girls, that's very important. They don't understand that that is not love. That's control. But when you're young and you have a desire to be loved so badly, they think that it's love. So as a woman now at 39 years old, when I mentor young girls, I teach them about the signs of a healthy relationship versus the signs of an unhealthy relationship. A person that trusts you and themselves does not have to know where you're at all the time. A person who is comfortable with himself will never control what you wear, will never control the friends that you have, and they will never isolate you. Those are major signs of predators that are domestically geared to be violent with women.
I'm curious, I have heard so many times that, you hear the situation where a woman is being abused and they continue to stay in the relationship for a long, long time. It sounds like you got out of yours pretty quick.
I did.
What gave you the strength to do that, number one? And number two, why do you think some women stay for extended periods of time?
Jeff, that's a really great question. I am a strong believer in Jesus Christ. I have a relationship of faith. And I realized that every time this man called me a vulgar name, every time this man accused me of acts outside of a marriage, he was damaging the spiritual side of who I was. And knowing that I was loved by God who made me and created me, the realization was I deserve better than this. And I was smart enough, and I had a mother that raised me. And from the time I was little, she always told me, you are amazing. You have a lot to bring to this world, but more importantly than that, God loves you. So that voice was always in my head. God loves you. And this is not love. So even though I wanted to be loved so badly and had an understanding that God's love was not violent, sometimes they conflict.
Right.
And I think oftentimes women stay because they don't see their own value. They don't see how valuable they are. And when a woman doesn't love herself and a woman doesn't love her body, she allows people to mistreat her. She allows people to abuse her. And that's why I decided that I was going to use my platform as a women's health and wellness expert to say, if you teach a woman to love herself, you can teach her to love her body. When she begins to love her body, she starts to see the world totally different. It's not about the workout. It's not about the healthy eating. It's about the value of doing healthy things because you're worth it.
I want to talk about that a lot more, but I want to go back to something just real quick. I think it's interesting. You said you went back to your father and told him that. What was his response?
Gosh. I have to tell you, he and I, and first let me say, he is an amazing man. And I had to learn not to play the blame game, but play the acknowledgement game. To say, I acknowledge that you weren't there. You as a man are amazing. He was always a great provider, great image of what it is to be a man, but his absence is what affected me. And for a very long time, I think he and I did not see eye to eye about the concept of leaving. And I think for him, he felt that I left your mother, I didn't leave you guys. But you left me when you left my mother. So it took us a couple of months of going back and forth, and even it came to a period of time where I pursued the relationship a little bit more. And as I was learning to value myself, I realized that I'm not pursuing any relationship or anything if someone doesn't want to pursue me. So I stepped back and I allowed him to meet me on his terms. And I had no expectations. I realized that one day our relationship will be restored, but it had to be because he wanted to be an active participant. And so when he came forward and said, you know, please forgive me. Forgiveness is the floodgate of healing. And when you forgive somebody, it's not just for them, but it's for yourself. To acknowledge, hey, Jeff, I wasn't there for you. I'm human. I ask that you forgive me. And so we had to start over. I had to be honest and get that negative stuff in my heart out. And I dumped it. And I told him how I felt. He asked for forgiveness and I gave it to him.
That's great. And your relationship today, I'm assuming, is good?
It is very good, but I will be honest with you. I think that we live in a society where people think forgiveness solves everything. And I don't want to contradict it. Forgiveness is a gateway. It opens up. But hurt is still hurt, right? And I think that sometimes we once again bury hurt with things. And I celebrated my 39th birthday last Friday. And something inside of me, I thought that I've never received a birthday card. I've never received flowers. And for some reason, it triggered something inside of me. And I had to deal with it. And I said, Letitia, don't run from it. Embrace it. Why are you angry that your father's never given you flowers? Why are you angry that you've never had a card from him? And there's so many young girls out there that are fatherless. There's so many women that are adults like myself that did not have a father. And they have internal issues that they run from. So my message is open up that wound. Dissect it. Why are you hurt about that? And for me, it kind of tied in how my relationships with men that didn't value me tied back to my perception of a father that didn't value me. But today I value myself. And I'm strong enough to say, you know, he gave me what he could. Go buy yourself some flowers and celebrate you.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
You talk about image, and the media plays such a role, I think, particularly, well, you know, I want to say particularly in what young girls, but I think even what grown women, how they perceive themselves or see themselves. Why is that? Why is that?
If you actually dissect marketing in the media, it is a revenue-driven business. When I was in grad school, I worked on a paper about the correlation of media, body image, and health. And what I found in my research is that the perception of idealistic beauty and realistic beauty, they don't mix. The ideal woman is manufactured, and she's usually beautiful blonde, blue eyes, beautiful long hair. And then other women take that image and they line themselves up and they do an assessment. Well, my hair is not like that. And then comes along this commercial that says, hey, this product, our model, who's absolutely beautiful, uses this. If you use this product, you too can feel and look like this. So in essence, there are people that study marketing. And messages either has a person feel emotional or detached. Women are driven by connection. So if I see a message that speaks to me inside that says, hey, remember you were saying that your skin wasn't the best and you wanted to feel good? I have a product to help you feel better about yourself. So we're chasing this illusion of perfection, and it's a lie.
Right.
So while we're working on the outside of who we are as women to perfect an image that has been categorized as beauty, we're ignoring the internal side of who we are. So as we chase getting longer hair, we chase fuller lips, we chase, slimmer hips, we're losing who we really are. Because the further we get away from our original identity, we're lost.
How do you overcome that? What advice do you give to a young woman to overcome that and not let that get in their head?
The first thing that I tell them is to work every day on things inside of you. I think it goes back even further. I have 4 nieces, and they're beautiful, great. But that's not what's important to me. When I speak to my nieces, I use words that have nothing to do with their appearance. You're creative, you're intelligent, you're kind. Because if all we tell young girls is, you're so pretty, your hair is pretty, your eyes are pretty, they begin to think that their self-worth is attached to how they look. And then when they no longer get that stimulus from other people telling them they're pretty, log on to Instagram. Log on to Facebook. The whole selfie, to me, is a very aesthetically driven self-affirmation. How many likes do I have on this picture? How many friends do I have? And what's really sad is that they will never meet these people, but their self-esteem is based on one image that they took probably 10 or 12 times to capture the perception of a perfect angle. So we have to take our girls away from social media and show them real women. Show them women with no makeup on. Show them women that struggle. Show them women that have issues on the inside, and be honest with them. When I go and speak to young girls, I just spoke in Nebraska about 2 months ago. And I remember crying in front of like 80 young girls. I played a song by Kobe Collette, and it's called Try. And throughout the video, she shows all of these amazingly beautiful women. But the lyrics of the song go, you don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all the way. And what she's showing is these women are asking for you to love me. And at the end of the video, all of the women remove their makeup. Some of the women take their hair off who are cancer survivors. And she says, do you like you? When you look in the mirror, do you like you? And it was an illusion of what the media shows versus the reality of how these women really were. And so I play this video, and you can see these young girls just staring, and something inside of them clicks. Something inside of them says, you mean I'm more than just my hair? I'm more than just my makeup. And I often cry, and I tell them, I said, do you know why Miss Letitia's crying? And they're like, no. And I tell them at one point in time, I didn't love me. And I never want you guys to not think that you're not valuable, that you're not important, and you're not special because of how you look. You're beautiful on the inside and the out.
And it's so unfair for young women, or for that matter, middle-aged or older women, to base or compare themselves to Hollywood and to, fashion magazines and things like that, because as you well know, having been involved in the media industry, there are things that the camera can do, and as we like to say around here, we'll fix it in post. There are things you can do in post-production. You should see me in real life. No, but in all honesty, it is so unfair for young people or anybody to compare themselves to that because of makeup and
exactly. I talk to women all the time, and I have this thing where women are although sometimes women can be very supportive, if I'm honest, women sometimes are their worst enemies because they've been taught to compete and compare, and oftentimes because of the internal insecurities, we don't like to compliment other women. Right. And that's one of the things that I tell the women that I coach. Compliment another woman, because she may be beautiful on the outside, but you don't know what she's going through on the inside. And when I compliment another woman, it gives me an internal joy. And it has nothing to do with her beauty overriding mine. Every woman is beautiful, but she has to see the beauty within herself in order to see the beauty in another woman.
Tell me about your book, Goodbye Skinny and Hello Size Healthy, because so much of us, we focus on our weight and our fitness levels and things of that nature. So Goodbye Skinny, Hello Size Healthy. I like that.
Yes, thank you. Goodbye Skinny, Hello Size Healthy. I When I thought of that title, I thought about all of the women that I have counseled throughout the years and the conversations that I have with women from 18, 65. They always think about being skinny. And I'm in the medical field. I have a master's degree in public health, and I work every day in healthcare systems. And one of the things that I tell women, are you healthy? And they kind of look at me like, well, I want to reach a certain weight. And I say to them, but the weight is not the issue. Is your blood pressure good? Are your labs good? When was the last time you had a pap smear? When was the last time you had a mammogram? So I try to teach women to shift their mindset from skinny to healthy. And healthy could be a woman at a size 14. It could be a woman at a size 12. So oftentimes we'll see a thin woman come in and we're like, oh, I wish I were thin like her. But sometimes women that have a thinner body carry more body fat than someone that appears to be a little larger. So I have this concept when people say, well, she's thin, she shouldn't exercise. And I say, I have a rule. And everyone's like, what's your rule? If you have a heart, you need to be healthy. So that means it's all inclusive. Every woman needs to exercise. Every woman needs to resistance train. Every woman needs to meditate. Every woman needs to say nice things to herself. So as either team skinny or team I'm okay with the way my body is, all of them are wrong. And the middle is healthy. So Goodbye Skinny, Hello Healthy is a national anthem. Are you a size healthy? And if you can say yes, then you're on the right track.
That's great. Well, what will someone learn from reading this book? So do you have techniques in here of how to design your exercise program to be healthy?
So I took a holistic approach to Goodbye Skinny, Hello Size Healthy. I share, first of all, my story, my journey of how I learned that being healthy starts on the inside. So we have this concept of wellness, and wellness is not just fitness, is not just nutrition, but it's social relationships, it's emotional, and it's spirituality. Throughout this book, I cover 7 pillars of wellness. So I do talk about fitness, and I provide exercises for the women to do. I do talk about nutrition, but I start with chapter 1, it's called Love Yourself Fit. And it starts with the emotional side of a woman. Why do you want to get healthy? Why are you exercising? Why are you eating healthy? Are you doing it to get back in a pair of jeans? Are you doing it so someone finds you attractive? Or are you doing it to ward off osteoporosis? Are you doing it to have strength to live into your 90s? Are you doing it to have a quality of life? So I challenge the reader to look beyond the aesthetics of looking a certain way and being healthy.
What is your recommendation to someone? What advice would you give someone, man or woman, to consistently adopt a healthy lifestyle of exercise, eating right, and that kind of thing? And I'm going here because we were talking offset here about motivation, and I want you to tell your talk about motivation.
So unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because we live in a society where everyone wants everything now. And in my field in January, that is the ultimate time where everyone's like, yes, I'm motivated.
That's right. I'm going to the gym.
Yes, this year I'm going to get into the best shape of my life. And I'm buying new running shoes. I'm cleaning out the refrigerator. But what happens is when motivation goes away, right? I like to say motivation is out like a week-old gallon of milk. You're really excited, and then all of a sudden when the reality of, uh-oh, you mean I've got to keep this up? To me, motivation is a false sense of commitment. So I have this theory that motivation cracks the door open, but it's commitment that keeps you there. It's commitment to yourself to say, you know, it's early, like I do my 5 o'clock workouts. That's the time where I'm my best.
5 o'clock in the morning.
5 a.m. is my amazing time because the field that I'm in, I give a lot of myself. And at the end of the day, I'm mentally exhausted. So I tell people, find that moment of the day when you're your best. And if you find that moment and stay consistent, you can stay committed to it more. So you first of all have to change how you think and how you see healthy living. That's the first advice that I give people. Are you doing it to stay healthy, or are you doing it because you're trying out the new fat diet, the new trends? There are new trends in the field of fitness and weight loss, the paleo diet, the vegan diet, but it's a lifestyle. And then be educated. Find stuff that teaches you the principles of exercise, that teaches you the principles of nutrition, understanding the why behind what you're doing. I think that society is not taught how to live healthy. We're taught to diet. So that is my first thing. Commit your mind to your health. See the value. It's a privileged exercise. It's not a chore. Every time I move my arms or I get up and stand out of a chair and I have the strength to do so, I say to myself, how amazing, how blessed am I that my body functions? Right. I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm not bedridden. So you have to change how you see healthy. You have to have an appreciation for it. Everyone deserves to be healthy.
And I would submit, and I know you can back this up, if you exercise on a regular basis, you will, mentally, it works for you as well.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
it changes your whole way of life, doesn't it?
It does. There's times when I'm traveling and for some reason, if I have back-to-back speakings, if I don't get up early to work out, all day I feel like I just need to go and run.
Right.
Because of the natural endorphin release that gives you mental clarity, the heart rate, feeling the sweat. And sweat is really good for us because it cleanses our impurities and our toxins. So the mental part of being healthy is just as important as the physical part of being healthy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And just doing a little, I find. I mean, even if it's just some push-ups or something like that.
Absolutely. I think what it does is when I used to teach athletes, we used to teach the psychology of success. And we have this theory that success breeds success. Right. When you tell yourself, when you say, Jeff, you're going to get up in the morning and you're going to do 20 push-ups, 30 jumping jacks, whatever you set for yourself, when you accomplish that, it gives you a sense of, I did it, and I want to do it again, and I want to do it again. So I encourage people to find what healthy means for you and commit to it.
What a pleasure to talk to you.
Yay!
I'm fired. I'm going to do some push-ups right now.
Yes.
Her new book is Goodbye Skinny and Hello Size Healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank
All the best to you.
Thank you. And you guys can find me at my website at LetitiaActionJackson.com and on Facebook, Twitter, and on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Action Jackson with us.
Woo! Yeah.
Some way we'll get her energy level up before she goes away. By the way, you can find her, as she said, at LetitiaActionJackson.com, and she's got plenty of tips and ideas on that website. By the way, you can see more of our conversations online at WSRE.org/conversations. We're also on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Jeff Weeks. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Take wonderful care of your health. We'll see you soon.
Yay!
Support for this program is provided in part by Gulf Power, a Southern company, and by viewers like you. Thank you.